Instead of taking another personality test, try out this experiment. Make a list of all the adjectives that can describe you.
I'm very talkative. I'm pretty open with people.
Very talkative. I like to meet new people.
Make it extensive. Fill out the whole page. Think about all kinds of environments or situations that you find yourself in. Think of how other people might describe you, your friends, parents, even enemies.
I am intriguing, even if I am regarded by most people as a great thundering twit.
I made this exact type of list 4 years ago, and here it is. In the space of a few lines, I have written down adjectives like ambitious and then lazy, clever and then naive, open and then categorical. I am clearly contradicting myself, yet every single one of those words is true, as in it's applicable to a situation I find myself in or a perceived opinion of others. Does this mean that I simply do not understand myself, or that temperament doesn't really exist?
Has someone ever told you that you have no personality?
Well, after making the list, I spent the next 4 years studying up on personality and its theories to answer this question. Turns out, it's complicated. When trying to describe an abstract concept, I usually find it best to start with what it is not. In reply to popular so-called personality videos on YouTube,
Personality can literally just be boiled down to the first few standout things people think of when they think of you.
a hobby, skill, trick, niche, or any sort of equivalent is not your personality. The advice commonly focuses on tricks or tweaks in the way you present yourself to people, your social mask or persona,
So let's say you like cleaning.
and ignore the deeper and more meaningful underlying personality structures. And I also do not see how any of these getting you in the door techniques
Step 3. When introducing yourself to people, talk about this thing.
help beyond a surface level way to network so as to extract value from your relationships to end up living a shallow and lonely life where no one really knows the true you, and in the end, perhaps you like it that way. Anyway, the positive effect most of these hack your personality videos describe,
So what do you do for fun? Oh, I'm really into cleaning.
like now feeling more confident or having things to say in conversations, is just your elevated position in a hierarchy of a given game or a set of games. I will return to this, but before I need to sketch out what I mean by using a classic example of what people do in their adolescence. Let's say you start skateboarding, common hobby with a subculture that teenagers assimilate to their personality. Let's say you become quite average in the park in terms of skill, you dress the part, and people actually start talking to you now. Before, you played no social games and stayed at home all self-righteous and accordingly feeling useless. What's now changed is you have a place, an earned one too, among the skatepark people, and plus an ounce of competence. Of course, you feel better. It might also even translate to other hierarchies and give you a backbone there. Just skateboarding might not be enough, but at least it's a starting point, and hey, if those losers at work don't get you, the people at the park do. Thus, you don't come home crying every night feeling shunned and outcast and useless. It is not that you stopped caring, as is often defensively used.
Don't care, don't care, don't care, still don't care. I don't care.
But it is that you found balance and built some pillars that can now withstand blows. The appealing solution that this video proposes,
Literally in less than a month, you'll have put more experience into cleaning than 99% of people will ever have.
is instead of classically joining a game where it takes a lot of effort to climb the ranks, you create one and therefore put yourself at the top.
Competitive knitting or the medical applications of Tetris.
Hence, niche, because everything mainstream is competitive. By the way, good luck creating a game in a long-term and non-superficial way. In any case, both methods are legitimate. However, they have nothing to do with your personality, only your persona. I think it is about time to sketch out what personality then is. Just so we're clear, personality as such, doesn't exist. As with anything related to psychology, it is a construct made up of words used to encapsulate it and give shape to abstract concepts so that we could talk about it and somewhat understand each other.
Do you believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
Unlike when I say a book and at least can point to one, that is not the case with personality. As with any such matters, discussions or debates on it consist of people speaking through each other because they disagree on words and their meanings.
Just so I know where you're coming from, can you tell me what is a woman?
Oh, that's a great question.
Which makes real conversations impossible.
What do you have to say to the trans students on this campus who actively feel victimized by your presence here today?
Life's tough, get a helmet, man. I'm too pregnant for this.
I find all this an exhausting waste of time, so I will not go into the various word maps that people have created to describe personality and only expound on one I find the most valuable and go from there. After all, this is my channel. Consider subscribing. Okay, I will briefly tell you about Carl Jung's personality theory, and keep in mind, this is only a way of conceptualization. This bubble here is ego consciousness. When you say me, this is what you're referring to. The ego is surrounded by general, undifferentiated consciousness. What's interesting about this theory is that, contrary to popular understanding, consciousness is not exclusive to humans. Mammals and even simpler life forms possess some level of consciousness. What makes us special is precisely the ego and, through it, our ability to be self-conscious. There's a lot that lies beyond this, but it is not relevant to this video, so back to the ego. The very surface of your ego is called the persona. This is the mask you adopt in social interactions, the way you present yourself. It is the social role you play in your society.
Did you go to university?
No.
Okay, so your job doesn't require a degree.
It includes your hobbies and all the different subcultures that you participate in. You adapt this part of you to the environment, and that is why you act differently around different people and why personality has a relativity aspect to it. It is relative to your surrounding environment.
Depends on the environment. Sometimes I'm off the wall. Other times I'm a little more reserved.
As I've alluded to before, most of these hack your personality videos talk about the persona and are therefore shallow. And I hope you can see that now too. Sadly, what commonly happens is people end up identifying completely with their personas and forgo any true development underneath, also called mental illness. For example, politicians are almost pure personas.
That a bigger government, spending more, taxing more, regulating more.
Those of us who say they are a good person are speaking through their personas. Another important part of personality is the shadow. The shadow consists of parts that are not welcome and have been pushed out of your consciousness or repressed. However, they are still present underneath. This natural process happens from childhood, when parents punish behaviors, feelings, thoughts, and thus the child adapts by dissociating them. It is commonly things like selfishness, aggressiveness, competitiveness, etc. Importantly, the shadow is still a part of you, whether you want it or not. And the goal is to integrate it back into the ego, become conscious of these traits, accept and take responsibility for them. For example, people with very unintegrated shadows tend to have outbursts where they become almost unrecognizable to how they usually behave.
It is your fault. Yeah, I know it's my fault. That's why I'm saying sorry.
There's still way more to this sketch, but for now, all of this is what I mean when talking about personality. Now that we understand each other better, I want to talk about a video I found which annoyed the hell out of me.
She hated much of her own personality.
I decided to spend a year trying to change my personality traits.
Especially because the person in the video claims to be a personality scientist, whatever that means in this case.
Almost 20 years of treating people with anxiety disorders, I've seen dramatic changes.
By the way, this manner of speaking is a good example of persona.
Totally leave room for Craig.
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
This is also a good opportunity to answer an important question.
Is it possible to scientifically change your personality?
No. Personality is mostly a given. The structure is built in and can be observed from childhood. I know how unpopular that answer is, but someone must say it. If your primary way of being is one of introversion, you're not going to change that sustainably and without paying a big price for it.
Introverts can become extroverts.
Well, never mind, I guess. It is not all bad news, because obviously you can adapt in the short term, but more importantly, you can grow and integrate your weaknesses. More on that later. However, personality growth does not come through denial or change,
Forcing yourself to act the opposite of how you normally would.
but through awareness and acceptance. Obviously, because one must first know how things are for things to get better. I think this woman is being terribly misled
This whole time I've been in therapy, I had taken different medications, I did yoga,
and headed towards alienation from herself.
Is this a case of fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to integrate these two fascinating moments from the video, so I just want to share them with you. Here's a great example of an unintegrated shadow.
I sometimes manipulate people into doing what I want. People say yes to that?
Notice how she naively scoffs at the idea of anyone admitting to being manipulative, at least sometimes. And the second one is just really funny.
Did you notice any change in her?
Sure. I think this guy knows what's up. Anyway, it is about time to expand our sketch to include the popular introversion-extroversion dynamic. Fun fact, Jung is the one who actually came up with this concept in the first place. And when you hear the basic
extroverts are energized by social interaction,
they are unknowingly using Jungian terms. As you can probably guess, this is not that simple too. Jung conceptualized the psyche as an energy system and thus having a direction of flow. Introverted energy flows inwards, in other words, is subjective. Extroverted energy flows outwards, objective. Since it is an energy system, it relies on balance and thus is not a case of zeros and ones. So putting yourself in one box or the other is fundamentally wrong. However, each person has a dominant way of being, one that usually comes naturally to them, but also they have an inferior way for balance, which must be developed.
I think I have a lot of qualities that an outgoing person would have, but I also have qualities that maybe a shy person would have, so it kind of balances me out.
If this was not the case, we would all be unchanging, unadapting rocks, pure introverts or extroverts headed towards explosion. Wait, this is why even if you enjoy interacting with other people, there are times where you get the urge to withdraw and be with yourself for a little while. Or if you're usually silent and withdrawn, there come times when you feel like pouring out your heart to someone. It is balancing at work. As a quick side note, while introversion-extroversion defines the attitude of personality, there are also functions which describe the way people orient or interact with the world. But they're not relevant now, and I think this video is dragging on. So, now that we've cleared up personality, I want to end by contradicting myself and describe what lies beyond personality and why we must transcend it. Understanding your personality and becoming conscious of it is a crucial part to maturing, and the reason I spent the whole video clarifying it. But it is also only a stepping stone. Personality is not a prison, but a set of rules that enable you to play the game in the first place. You must first master the rules to then go on becoming a virtuoso and mastering improvisation. If there are no rules, there is no improvisation, by definition. Secondly, more importantly, you can then transcend the game. Jung called this individuation. Paradoxically, it is only after separation that one can become whole. The human condition is paradoxical and dualistic to its core, and this is no exception. Getting settled into your personality and then integrating the various aspects of it is crucial, don't get me wrong, but in the end, it is something one must go beyond, because while it is important to become centered, it does not make you the center. I'm repeating myself, but I think understanding this is invaluable. You cannot transcend yourself if you are an undifferentiated cluster of chaos in the first place. See you next time.